All righty. Welcome in college football tonight to this presentation of college football tonight right here, right now. All righty, guys. Another great day of college football. We're recording this one early. No real big games late. And we are going to get right into it right here, right now. But of course, the story of the day is Penn State and Indiana. What started as a game where, of course, we had to watch out for an upset, turned into a game where Indiana really had control for a lot of the game. Now, as I'm speaking, there are still games going. So, this is not, the taste's not over, but most of the games are. Now, Cincinnati SMU, not over yet. You can hate on me all you want, but the real games are over right now and will be over by the time this is over. All right. So let's start in the Big Ten, which of course a lot of stories today in the Big Ten. Big Ten back, of course, started yesterday. Was Wisconsin just rolling over Illinois. Early window today featured Nebraska Ohio State as the featured game. Ohio State, big favorite to win. They get it done. 52-17 Ohio State winning. The other early game, Rutgers getting the win over Michigan State. First Rutgers Big Ten win since 2017. That comes against Michigan State. All right, the middle window, arguably the biggest window for the Big Ten. And what we saw was, let's start with Iowa Purdue. I think we saw just an Iowa team that wasn't quite prepared for the game. They were, mediocre at best today. A lot of penalties, like far too many penalties. And also, the turnovers, very costly. 2 turnovers in plus territory. And really, when you think of those turnovers, you're giving up probably more than a field goal each time you turn the ball over there. You're giving them the ball back with a lot of momentum. I think, yeah, Iowa, if they wouldn't have turned the ball over at all today, it would have been a dominant win probably. But just when Iowa was getting the running game going, it just seemed like they just turned it over, and tough day for Hawkeye fans everywhere. Um, but Purdue, you got to give them credit. They had a lot of adversity. They battled today and got the win. All right, the other game, the big game, Penn State, Indiana. Indiana had a big lead at halftime. It was like 17-7. Indiana kept fighting and fighting. And eventually, Penn State took the lead. It was 28-20. And then Penn State's running back scores. Oh my gosh, he scored. But the problem with him scoring was that it gave Indiana the opportunity to score a touchdown to send the game to overtime with the 2-point conversion. Of course, that's what they did because Indiana is Indiana. They're not a bad offense. They're always going to move the football. And then the kickoff at the end of regulation, I was just insanely surprised. And then Penn State, they somehow just can't get any closer of a field goal than what they get. And it ends up being a missed field goal at the end of regulation. Penn State scores a touchdown in overtime. Indiana scores a touchdown. They get the 2-point conversion. They win it 36-35, overtime win for Indiana. And of course, it came down to that 2-point conversion. Very controversial call. I'll give my opinion. I think it shouldn't have been a good 2-point conversion. I don't think you can say that it's good when the ball is outside of the pylon. When the ball is outside of the pylon, it's not in the end zone, in my opinion, which may or may not be valid at all. And next week, Penn State gets Ohio State. They're going to have a tough week this week, and could be an 0-2 Penn State team, but I really don't know what to think right now because the Big Ten is going to be just like the SEC, where you see every team getting big losses. I don't know why people think the SEC is out of this, out of like getting two teams in. Certainly, the SEC could get two teams in, just like the Big Ten, just like the Pac-12. I mean, I don't think any league should get two teams in this year. We didn't see non-conference games to say that we should. I think every conference should get a minimum or maximum of one team in this year, just because we haven't seen the head-to-head matchups, and I think it really values when you're having only conference matchups. It values those conference champions to a higher extent that previous years may not have. And when you think about it here, it's Penn State, it's Indiana, and I don't think Penn State should be disappointed um, in the refs call. This was a Penn State team that just didn't come out firing on all cylinders. I think the problem for Penn State is the pressure that they have every year as a contender in the Big Ten. And they're just consistently missing the expectation. They're always losing to Ohio State or losing to Michigan. It's just never perfect. And I think people need to be realistic and say that Penn State's a good team, and certainly they are. We're gonna move on to the late games, and it was just an absolute I don't know what to say. Michigan over Minnesota, and I think Jim Harbaugh deserves credit for this one. Oh, 49-24 was the final, but I think when you think about it, Jim Harbaugh, he got his team ready, and I think he was kind of fighting for the season silently. He always was going to be ready for the season. He told his guys he believed in them. I think it's a special thing that Michigan has going for him this year. And I think Minnesota got a few breaks last year. I don't know if they were really as good as people made them out to be. I think Minnesota's going to be a good team this year. They could get to Indianapolis, but I think Michigan is always going to be a team that can beat you on any given day. All right. The other Big Ten game, Northwestern beating Maryland 43-3, which is a really scary score if you're Iowa, which I think Iowa should be scared. They get Northwestern next Saturday on ESPN. All right, the SEC today. Saw just a couple games today. Auburn getting Ole Miss. I think there's a controversial call on that one, 35-28. I forget exactly. I don't know. Alabama over Tennessee. Big one for them. LSU beats South Carolina, and Missouri beats Kentucky. Missouri gets their second win of the season. Nothing much there. The only real team that I guess is notable would be Alabama. Big win for them. All right, the ACC today. We had Clemson, only 26 points, guys. Only 26 over Syracuse. If you didn't take Clemson plus 46, you guys are idiots. Y'all should be ashamed of yourselves that you didn't take Syracuse plus 46 because, quite frankly, that wasn't going to be a 46-point blowout. It was going to be a Clemson wasn't going to just lay the, I don't know, they weren't going to just win by that much. Notre Dame, though, did win by 42 over Pittsburgh. Wake Forest getting the win over Virginia Tech. Louisville over Florida State. Carolina over NC State. And as we're recording this, Virginia and Miami are just about to wrap it up, with Virginia having the ball down by 5. All right, let's move on to the Big 12. All right, Oklahoma, big win, 33-14. Texas wins at 27-16 over Baylor. Oklahoma State, 24-21 over Iowa State. K-State over Kansas, 55-14. The only notable one I would say is Oklahoma State over Iowa State. I didn't watch any of that game, but I did see that Oklahoma State, I think, had the lead like the entire game. And just tell you that we may see this game again in the Big 12 championship. And I think Oklahoma State is legit. Just surrendering 21 to Iowa State, that just shows that they're legitimate on the defensive end to an extent. And I think we could see that as a rematch. And I think Oklahoma State entering this stretch of tough opponents, a whole tough November that they've got coming for them over the next few weeks. They get Oklahoma, Texas, pretty much everybody in the next month, maybe even K-State, but I really don't know. Well, next week it's Oklahoma State, Texas on Fox. Following week, Oklahoma State will get Kansas State, and then eventually they'll get Oklahoma in late November. So, yeah, you got to get everybody, but you don't want to get everybody consecutively, at least the contenders. You want to get a break somewhere in there. So that'll do it for the Power 5, I believe. I got to all the Power 5 conferences. But right now, Cincinnati's leading SMU 27-10. Don't know how that one's going to finish out. But I have not predetermined my 3 winners of the day, so we're going to do that really, really quickly here to give you our 3 winners. And we're going to give one today we're going to limit one. We're going to get one per conference today, just to make it fair. Out of the Big 12, I would give you, let's see here. I'd say Oklahoma with the bounce back win. I mean, you could say Oklahoma State. Oh, so sure we'll go Oklahoma State. Big win heading to the stretch. Go Oklahoma State. They get the, the winner. I won't give a winner of the SEC. It was not. No winner should be given there. The ACC, Notre Dame, I'll give it to them. 45-3, very dominant win. And I think deservedly so. Big Ten, it's Indiana, 36-35 win in overtime. I don't know what you can say. Indiana, they deserve to be a winner today. And I mean, maybe they shouldn't have won, but hey, even if they lost, maybe they would have been a winner for me. They fought really hard today, and I thought when I saw this matchup right before the Penn State Ohio State game, I'm like, you don't want to travel to Indiana when you got a game 6 days or 7 days later with a big matchup with Ohio State on the line. And I think big win for Indiana. Let's just say that. But again, it's going to be another great Saturday next week that we will, of course, be ready for. And of course, Miami has gone final 19-14 win over Virginia. But next week it'll be fun. It'll be great. It will be amazing. Your college football Saturday, Michigan State, Michigan early game on Fox. Boston College, Clemson's on ABC early next week. Middle of the day next week, you get on Fox, Texas, Oklahoma State, and ESPN will have Northwestern Iowa. CBS gets LSU Auburn for you next week in the middle of the day. And then in prime time, next Saturday night, of course, you've been waiting for it. Mississippi State, Alabama on ESPN. And ABC will have Ohio State, Penn State for you. And I guess Fox has Oklahoma, Texas Tech. And then late night, Nevada, UNLV in the Nevada Showdown, guys. All right, that'll do it for us. College football tonight. Again, our three winners. Big Ten team in Indiana, ACC team Notre Dame, and the Big 12 team Oklahoma State. See you guys next Saturday night.